Throughout most of the animes you'll watch, you'll find that there are a variety of ways a story can be told. However, typically, you can find most of these stories in two groups, character driven or plot driven. This is WangInsights, and today we're going to be covering two types of stories in anime, so without further ado, let's get right into it. First, let's go over the criteria and definitions I'll be using for the video. A character-driven anime focuses on the development, growth, and inner conflicts of its characters. The story progresses primarily through the choices, relationships, and evolution of these characters. Typically, in a character-driven anime, you can't really just throw anyone in as your main character, otherwise the story changes drastically. I'll touch more on this later in the video. A plot-driven anime emphasizes the storyline, events, and external conflicts. The narrative is structured around a series of events or central plot that drives the character's actions. While the characters still play crucial roles, their development might take a backseat to the unfolding events. These types of animes, you honestly could really swap out the main character and it really wouldn't make a drastic change in the story or the way you view it. We'll start with going over the simpler of the two, plot-driven anime. The Dragon Ball franchise is an amazing example of a plot-driven anime. For starters, the plot pretty much remains the same the whole way through. You have your Z fighters who go and fight against different people who want to bring harm to innocent people or destroy the Earth. Then comes the good guys who stop them from wreaking havoc. We then see the same idea repeated in different variations throughout the whole story. As I said before, you really can use any character in the same model and you'll still get the same Dragon Ball vibe without feeling like you're watching a completely different anime. For example, you have the history of Trunks, the episode of Bardock, you even have the most recent Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Super, Superhero, all of which Goku is not the main character, yet they all still provide an amazing Dragon Ball story. Moving on, we also have shows like Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, in terms of plot-driven, it's not entirely as far-leaning as Dragon Ball is, but it's definitely a moderately plot-driven anime. The plot basically goes in the way of sorcerers fighting cursed spirits, and our protagonists fight off cursed spirits and those who oppose those at Jujutsu High School. Now, there are points in the story where it does become slightly character-driven, such as Gojo's past arc, but for the most part, the plot stays around what I described. Like, we get JJK0, which gives us the same Jujutsu Kaisen look before Yuji Itadori is even in the picture. Yet we get the same exact vibe we would get in the main series. Now one's just a little bit more complex, as I think you can make the argument you couldn't just put anyone in Yuji's place and get the same exact story, but I think you get a pretty similar one that inherently would give you the same conclusions up to this point. Think of it as just taking two different routes to the same destination. Overall, these plots are pretty straightforward, and these shows typically don't focus on giving characters so much depth, but focus more on making the story intriguing and easy to follow. Again, there is nothing wrong with plot-driven anime. It still gives you great quality shows that have lots of replay value. But with that, let's get into character-driven anime. So Death Note is our first prime example of a character-driven anime. And also, make sure to go back and watch my other video I did on Death Note. It's a great video. You guys are definitely going to like it. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The series revolves around Light Yagami, a high school student who discovers a mysterious notebook that allows him to kill anyone by writing their name in it. Do I even need to explain why this anime is character-driven? Well, of course I do. That's my job. The whole plot of the anime revolves around Light's decisions and what he does in the story. You couldn't really put anyone else in Light's position because then you wouldn't have the same story. His character has so much depth to it and so much to dissect, it's different from the rest of the characters. Like, you couldn't put in Misa as the main character. She's not as smart or egotistical as Light. She wouldn't have made the same decisions that Light have made, and it would have shifted the story in a completely different direction. We even see this in a different Death Note variation, such as the one-shot story, where a Death Note is given to Minoru Tanaka and you get a completely different Death Note story. Then you got Attack on Titan. This one's a little complicated, but I do feel like once you watch the entire show, it's most definitely character driven. Now, if season 4 didn't reveal what it did, you could definitely say AOT from seasons 1 through 3 is definitely plot driven anime. I would not argue that. You just have your scouts are fighting titans, and that's really about it. Then we learn the whole plot of Attack on Titan is truly Eren's story. From him manipulating Grisha into stealing the founder, to Eren having Dinah Fritz eat Carla Yeager, to give Eren Yeager the drive he needs to keep moving forward. The story happened in a way that only Eren would want it to happen. Now, to speculate, if you gave the Attack Titan to someone else, would they have made the similar decisions and would take a whole other video. But If you guys want that, comment that down below. As I said though, season 4 is the point that gives me the reason to believe that AOT is a character-driven anime. You know, I'm not going to go too deep into spoilers because I know there's some people who really haven't watched Attack on Titan yet. I do suggest watching it though. In summary, character-driven anime and plot-driven anime offer distinct experiences. Character-driven series like Death Note and Attack on Titan immerse us in psychological and emotional journeys of their characters. In contrast, plot-driven series like Jujutsu Kaisen and Dragon Ball Z captivate us with their action-packed narratives and compelling story arcs. Both types of storytelling have their unique strengths, and ultimately, the best anime often blend both elements, creating rich and immersive worlds that keep us coming back for more, with my personal favorite being character-driven animes. Thank you guys for watching today. Leave a comment below on your thoughts. What did you agree with or disagree with? Feel free to discuss in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. With that being said, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and share. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Dark skin, not to mention none alive can fathom my power within. Yet these females try to trap me just to pass it till they can't come.